So I've got a really cool video for today. Everybody's seen this famous photo. It's probably one of the most famous photos that's ever been taken, but very few know the very cool story behind the photo. How it was taken, how it became so famous, and why it's been on almost all of our computers. I'd be in school, boot up my computer, and this would be the first image that I would see for years. It's an exciting photo, it brings you joy, it's beautiful. But is it real? Think about the mystery of this photo. We've all seen it. We all know it. If it was hung up somewhere as a painting, it would probably be more famous than the Mona Lisa. In fact, it's graced over 1 billion computer screens worldwide. Yet very few people know the story behind it. So here's the story behind this 2001 Windows XP default desktop background. So in the 1990s in Napa Valley, there was a large spread of a microscopic pest, and it was running through all of the grapes and all of the crops. 50,000 acres of field had been decimated, and after $500 million in total damages, where there were once a whole bunch of rows of grapevines, all of a sudden were gone and replaced with luscious, beautiful grass. And this takes us to the photo. Charles O'Rear, who was the photographer who actually took the famous photo, he was a famous photographer and it just so happened to be his day off, so he decided to go visit his girlfriend. Now imagine it being the only day where you don't need to be taking pictures for your job. It was January and he was driving to San Francisco to visit his girlfriend at the time. It had just rained in January in San Francisco. Charles is cruising down Highway 121 in 1998, and it had just finished raining and the grasses were looking amazing. Now Charles couldn't take his eyes off of these beautiful hills that he was seeing. He was driving his car and he was staring out the window like crazy, trying to figure out why these hills looked so picturesque. Charles decides to pull over his car and take a picture. And that's how we got to the picture. But how did Microsoft end up getting it? Now Charles didn't work for Microsoft. He was a photographer for the LA Times. He didn't work for Microsoft. Charles took the picture and uploaded it online to Corbis, which was a stock photo website which was owned by Bill Gates. Now a few years later, all of a sudden Charles gets a phone call, and it's from Microsoft. And they asked him if they could use his photo for their newest operating system. He wasn't told why his photo was selected, and he wasn't told at the time how much money he'd be getting. But later on it was found out that the reason why Microsoft chose this photo was because that little bar at the bottom, where it says start with the blue, matched up perfectly. The greens were very similar, the blue was very similar. Charles O'Rear decided to sell the photo to Microsoft for an undisclosed amount of money. Apparently Microsoft paid so much for this photo that not a single shipping company would agree to send it out. The insurance was just so high that they couldn't justify the fact that if they lost it, they'd be out so much money. Charles said it's the most money he's ever been paid for a photo, and I'd assume so. There's speculation that this is the second most expensive photo ever. Number 1 being a picture of Bill Clinton giving a hug to Monica Lewinsky. Now once it was in Microsoft's hands, the picture was named Bliss. And Windows XP was released in 2001, just a few years after Charles had taken the photo. No one at the time of release knew where this photo was taken from. We now know that it's near San Francisco, but what does it look like now? While the Green Hill still exists to this day, it's covered in a whole bunch of plants and it doesn't look the exact same as it once did. But here's a picture of what it looks like now, and here's a picture of what it looked like back then. This is a picture that's been used in the White House, a North Korean power plant, and pretty much anyone on this planet, if you were to stop them and ask them if they recognize the photo, they'd be able to tell you that they recognize it. I think this story is so cool. Charles ended up marrying the girlfriend that he was going to visit, and the two are probably living pretty happily off of the money that he made from it. I know this was a different type of video, but I stumbled upon the story and I loved it. This famous photo, and I finally know the story behind it. If you guys liked this story as much as I did, please like the video and subscribe, it would mean a ton. And maybe I might do this more often. Educate you guys on the stupid stuff that I look up when I'm bored. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I have a new video coming up for you guys on Monday. Peace out.